All right, so let's talk about loose leash walking, and it's something that most owners struggle with, and it doesn't have to be that hard. We just have to make sure that there's some really clear expectations in place, and we're going to set the dog up for success. So first things first is you want to set your dog up before you even leave the house and before you even start your walk. That's where most people go wrong. They let the dog rush out the door, they let the dog run around the house while you're putting the lead on, while you're putting your shoes on, and they lose their mind, and you're basically just an anchor at the end of the lead once you get out of the house. So you're not, they're not engaged with you at all. If your dog's already wound up and racing around the house, that's where we want to start. Take a few moments to create calm before you even leave the house. So if they're running around like a lunatic, just take a few moments, take a few minutes, doesn't matter how long it takes. Wait for calm before you even clip the lead on. We're also going to wait for calm at the door or calm at the gate, and if you need a refresher on that, we've got a boundaries and threshold video that you can check and just refresh on that. Now let's talk about equipment. So whatever you've been walking your dog on, it's probably what's known as poisoned. So if you've been walking your dog on a flat collar for years, 1 year, 6 months, 3 years, doesn't matter. If you've been walking them on a flat collar and they're used to pulling through that, that's what's known as poisoned. So basically the rules that you've taught your dog is that when you feel that pressure, just keep walking. Same with harnesses. I don't recommend harnesses to teach loose leash walking because it just distributes the pressure evenly and you've got no control. I prefer to use a slip lead. We can condition the slip lead from the very start, give it the correct rules, and we have clear expectations in place. So we start fresh with fresh equipment, so we're going to succeed much better. We condition the slip lead properly first so that the dog understands when it feels that pressure, it's not something to pull against, it's not something to go crazy and fight against, it's something that we yield to that pressure. Check out the leash yielding and teaching leash pressure video if you need extra help with that. When used correctly, the slip lead becomes a really clear communication tool. Okay, so treats and reinforcement. So you want to make sure that you have your treats in your pocket on the same side that the dog is, or your treat pouch on the same side that the dog is. If you find that your dog's like coming around in front of you, you've probably got your treats on the other side of the hip, so the dog's just trying to get to where the reinforcement is. So the most important thing is that we are only going to be rewarding or reinforcing the dog when they're in the sweet spot, which is right beside you. I want to have kind of like their front shoulders level with my leg. When we progress with the walking, I'm not going to be rewarding all of the time when they're next to me, because I find that with dogs, when the reinforcement or the food stops, then the dog just takes off out in front. You then yank them back and then you start the reinforcement again. So they're like, oh, okay, so when the food stops, I call it the Macca's drive-through. When the food stops, I just go out in front, you'll call me back, and then the food will start again. So in the very first steps, I am going to tell the dog when it's in the right position, but then I'm quickly going to fade that out because I don't want that to become the only time that they stay there. In the beginning, every time that the dog's in that correct position and when they check in with you, I do want you to give your marker good. Sometimes we can give them a little food reward. Sometimes we just give them the verbal marker good so they know they're on the right track. Don't get too excited or overexcited. Be like, good, because then the dog's just going to go and get out of place. So calm walking should earn calm rewards. I want you to start simple and set really clear boundaries. So I want you to pick 2 spots outside or put 2 cones in the backyard, have 2 trees out the front yard, 2 electricity poles. Pick a distance that you can aim between, just go in a straight line back and forth. And you're only going to go that far. So loose leash walking doesn't start on a walk because you're going to get frustrated because you're going to want to go from A to B to C. You're going to have to go slow because your dog is not going to be able to go that far without you having to change directions in the start. So don't go too far. Pick a spot. Go between that. Once you can consistently go between those 2 spots without having to turn around and your dog stays in the sweet spot, then you can maybe pick the next power pole. Then you start going between that. This is where a lot of people go wrong. They want to go on their normal half an hour or 1 hour walk, but they're not ready to slow down so that the dog can understand the patterns and progress that way. So that's why so many people struggle. They don't put in this basic foundations, these basic starting points so that the dog can get the clear answer. Your only goal is to walk between those 2 spots with a nice calm lead. If your dog forges ahead or got their nose down, it's not time for a correction. It's just a time to turn around and show them that, hey, that doesn't get you progressing anywhere forward. So what turning around does is it teaches the dog that forward progress only happens when they're in the correct spot. So if they pull, the walk doesn't keep going in the direction that they want, we turn around. So like I said, once you can walk calmly between those two spots, then you can start to pick a further spot and you can start to progress once the dog is walking calmly on a loose leash between all of those spots. The golden rule is never progress forward while the dog is forging ahead or pulling on the leash. We never want to make progress while they're pulling on the leash. That clarity is crystal clear for a dog. So they understand, oh, if I'm pulling forward, we never keep going. So the way that the dog understands to keep going is to stick with you. Loose leash walking isn't about controlling your dog. It's about communicating clearly that the way to keep progressing forward is to walk nicely with me on a loose leash. When you stay calm and consistent and clear, the dog understands it and you'll progress a whole lot quicker. So let's recap on the rules. Calm before the walk. You use the right equipment. Mark and reward in the sweet spot when you're first starting out. Change directions when they pull. Don't keep going forward. Do that consistently, and it's actually not that hard. Just be consistent so your dog gets it. But if you're always changing the rules, the dog's always going to try and forge ahead. So once you've both got that understanding and the dog has got that understanding, you're both going to enjoy it a whole lot more, and it's going to happen a whole lot quicker. So now I'm going to do a little demo with a few dogs on the process of how it actually looks. You can go out the back of your house and just pick two trees that you're going to go between, two power poles. It doesn't matter what it is, just pick two spots and that's what you're going to go between. Don't try and teach a loose leash walk on a walk. Yeah, don't go, okay, we're going to go around the block, because you're going to get frustrated. You're going to let your dog pull because you want to get from A to B. And that's not where your dog learns your loose leash walk. They learn it through repetition of doing the right behavior. Oh, good boy. And he knows if nothing's happening, nothing's happening. So what we're going to do is we're going to give him our walking cue, which is let's go. We've got our continuation marker, which is good. We can tell him he's in the right spot. And then we've got our finish marker, which is our yes. So on our walks, we're just pretty much going to use our let's go and our good. If he gets distracted and is looking at something else, I can help redirect him with his yes marker. But for this exercise, we're literally just going to go in between our two marker posts and just going back and forth. Once he's out of the correct position, which is pulling in front, we're going to turn around over our right shoulder and go the other way. To help him to understand the let's go, I may give him a let's go. We want our body to turn, and then if we need to, we can give a little bit of pressure, so pulling on the leash this way to let him know to follow us. And you should have also looked at conditioning the leash pressure also in previous videos. So let's have a little go, Bez. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. And I'm just looking straight ahead. Let's go. He's got lots of smells. Let's go. Good. Good. Let's go. Good. I'm actually going to reward him there because he's being in the right spot. So I'm going to give him a good. Let's go. Out of bounds. Let's go. Good. Now when I'm actually out on the walk, let's go, and he's getting better, I'm not going to walk along feeding like this, because then the dog will stay there. Let's go. The dog will stay there so long as you are giving him food. Let's go. Good boy. So long as you're giving him food, he's going to stay in that position, and then the food stops and he's going to charge ahead. So in this little exercise here where I'm just showing you to turn when he's out of bounds, in the very beginning stages, I am going to let him know that's the position that's going to get paid, just in the beginning stages, so that he doesn't start to rely on only being in that position when there's food. Make sense? Let's go. Oh, you've been such a good boy. Let's go. So then when you can see he's starting to go really well, good. Nice. I might spread out my marker and go even further. So then I might go 2 lampposts. Let's go. Or I might go 2 trees. But you're not going to, let's go. Nice. You're not going to go any further. Good. Let's go. Until you can see he understands that's where he needs to be and not out in front. Then you're going to go a little bit further. But don't try and go too far too fast, because that's when you're going to fail, because you're going to let the dog pull so that you can get there. Good job, buddy.